Today, I am super excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is the program. And there's a quote from Carl Jung that really sums up what this video will talk about, which is that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who we truly are. But first, we have to unlearn who they told us to be. When we come into this world, we are born a clean slate. I have that in green. If you recall from previous videos of the Rand Realms of Living model and talking about moving to your desired reality, the green area is the realm of freedom. So when we come in born on a clean slate, we're in that realm of freedom. And through the program is how we end up in these other realms, the realm of safety, the realm down here of aid as a reminder of addiction, imprisonment, dependence, and that stuck cycle that so many of us get stuck in, where we're trying to get out, we're trying to break free and get into a different realm, but just feel unable to do so. So a big component of this is the program, and that's why we're talking about it today. So again, come in as a baby, clean slate, everything is great, the world is our oyster. And then the programming begins. This cannot be avoided. It happens. No one can escape it. And the program comes from our society, culture, family, general experiences, good and bad in our lives, and traumas. And you may be wondering, well, what do you mean by this? So some examples would be what you were told as far as how you should act, what you should do, how you should dress. Again, you're hearing a lot of shoulds. Anytime you hear yourself or others saying you should do something or they say, this is part of the programming. And maybe it was just when I was growing up, I don't know if it's still around, but we were literally told when we were younger, get with the program. The program. So we have to first recognize that we have been programmed. And if we're looking to shift our reality, change our identity, the way we do that is by altering our programming. And first being aware of what that programming is. I mean, what is it, like old school operating systems, DOS and such with these old programming? Some of us might still be operating on that. I know there are definitely people's parents out there that are operating on some seriously old school programming, and they are continuing to bring that forward in next generations. If you want to make a change, if you have things going on in your life that you're not happy about, you must change your programming. To explain how this flows into becoming a problem is you have all of this programming, and again, some of it is things like the TV shows you watch, songs you're listening to. Start observing. Have you ever found yourself, maybe you get into a certain TV series and there's characters in there that are using certain lingo, and then all of a sudden you start noticing you're saying those words? You have to really appreciate the unconscious aspect of our beings and that part of how it relates into the programming, especially if there is emotion involved, because the language of our sub or unconscious, as we call it, is emotion. So if you're watching TV shows, if you're listening to music and you have a lot of joy or you have a lot of sadness or whatever that strong emotion is, that's going to be part of what is programming you. And it could be new programming, or it could just be further embedding programming, or it could actually be supporting some of the aspects of your current reality that you're actually trying to escape. So all of these factors that are coming in this line here relate to your thoughts. Everything that you've been told, everything you're observing affects your thoughts, which then trickles down to your behaviors And as you repeat those behaviors, the habitual aspect of it, it becomes a pattern. And when there's patterns, most of the time you're not even really thinking about it. It's just auto, that you're just moving on autopilot with these behaviors and these patterns. And that's when they can lead into attachments. You become so needy of whatever it is that's in your life as part of these behaviors and patterns, that is when it becomes an issue. And it's often quoted from Buddha that attachments are the root of all suffering. And in my book, I actually do a big focus on attachments because it is very true. If you start to look at the areas of your life where you feel the most suffering and pain, it boils down to some sort of attachment that you have. So recognizing this and understanding that these attachments are what lead to getting stuck and not being able to pull away because you're so attached, and becoming addicted and having that need to keep that attachment, and just in general this unhealthy living that you're trying to escape. One character I think of when I think about attachments, and I again always try to make some of this lighthearted because we're all human and this is part of normal reality. There's nothing to be ashamed by or feel any type of negative emotion of, oh my God, I have attachments. We all have attachments. It's managing those attachments. But one character I like to think of is the little guy Golem from Lord of the Rings with the big eyes. And he's always talking about the ring and saying, my precious. He just has such an attachment to that ring, right? And if you think about all the behaviors that go around everyone trying to get this ring, the attachment, and how that really is the driving factor for a lot of what we do in our lives is attachments. And so if we're looking to escape whatever that is, that reality right now and that identity right now, what we need to do is we need to work this backwards. Again, we need to go to the root cause. It's not changing behaviors here, again, because what is that? That's trying to change an effect within effect, right? Instead, we need to change the effect with the cause. We need to bring it back and we need to reprogram. So how this is done is it starts with awareness. Awareness, as we talked about, of what is your current program. I often relate things to video games and understanding you're entering this new realm, this new reality of yours. It's a different part of the game that you are moving into. And to do that, you have to be able to have the programming and follow the programming. A term that I was not aware because I'm an amateur to video games and such is an NPC, so a non-player character. And essentially, when you're just following a program that somebody gave you or society, culture came out, here you were programmed, you're an NPC. You're just being told, here, this is how you should operate in this video game of your life. If you want to be an NPC or you're operating that way, that is fine. You wouldn't probably be here, though, if that was the case. But I do want to make a point. Sometimes in your life, and especially in certain aspects of your life, you choose to be an NPC. And that is great if it's working for you. There are times in my life when I've said, you know what, in this aspect of my life, I just want to follow what's expected. That makes me feel good. I'm not having issues. I'm not down in an area within the rand realms that I don't want to be. It's working for me. But then at other times or in other areas of your life, you want to be the main character in that game. You do not want to be the NPC. And that is what we're talking about. We're talking about how do you step in to being that character. And step one is awareness of what your programming is now and realizing how you need to change that to become that character, have the tools in your belt, if you will, to live in the reality you desire. So number one, again, focus on just tomorrow, today, right now, just start it. What are you listening to? You're listening to this, right? What are you listening to? What are you watching? As they say, the 5 people you hang out with the most are the ones that you're getting most influenced by, especially unconsciously. You might not even realize it. So who are you surrounding yourself with? And what is that doing with your programming? Is it maintaining it? Is it changing it? Is it the programming that you believe the person in your desired reality that you are in your desired reality is following? And if it's not, that's where you need to start tweaking it. And sometimes this literally needs to be a clean slate. And one way I like to think about this from a visual perspective, because I find that can be very helpful, is if we think about a mountain, right? And maybe this is where you're starting, okay? This is the top of the mountain. And what you've been doing is you've been going down the same trail, right? The same thoughts, patterns, behaviors, the attachments mixed in. You're going down that same trail and you're crashing here. This is someplace you're not feeling. Maybe it's down an aid, maybe it's a stuck cycle. It's why you're here, right? This is what you're doing. So in order to change that and reverse all this, oftentimes you're pretty much clean slating your current programming. You need a totally new program. You got to wipe the old and start anew. So what happens is when you make these changes, you're not following that anymore. You're not getting stuck in the same old pattern, because we all know how easy, once your little skis are stuck there, it's trying to get out of that, it's ingrained. Nope, you're going right down there. Really hard to try to abort here, okay? You start here, clean slate. Now you're coming down this route. And instead of that, you've got this great green freedom here and a desired reality. And what happens is this trail no longer exists, right? So you are flowing down into the freedom. I give this visual because it really shows sometimes how drastic it needs to be. You can't expect that you're going to tweak a few things. I'll just try. No, you're going to keep going down. It's going to pull you down. Just like in the Rand realms, it's like a vortex that can suck you down into the aid section of reality. You need to thoroughly examine what you are doing and know it could be a good 90% of what's going on in your life needs to shift, including the people you hang out with, the music you listen to, the shows that you watch, because they are all part of your programming. You can take an active role in deciding what character you want to be in this world. You just reprogram. It actually is rather simple, but you have to have that desire to actually do the work, pay attention, and make the changes. And it can be incremental. It's not like all of a sudden tomorrow you have to wake up and be like, I'm not gonna think this, do this, have these friends, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just being more aware. You still probably are gonna hang out with your family or your coworkers or whoever, but it's understanding when you hear them say certain things, I was just told I should get married. I was just told I should go to college. I should have kids. That they say blah, blah, blah. Question it. Does that align with the programming of me and my dream reality? And if it does not, you choose to ignore it, replace it, and start going down a new path.